So one of the things that I see, for online, entrepreneurs is they get into the business because they see the ability to make money and they see the ability to make money quickly. That's great, right? I think everybody wants to make money and everyone wants to be successful, but I think that can really impact the way they view whether the product that they're selling and ultimately their customer by just trying to make money. That's where you have to take a step back. And some of the main issues that are caused are because of that tunnel vision of just trying to make money and just trying to hit that metric, right? And I think the one thing you have to really focus on when you're looking at building a brand, whether you're doing drop shipping or your own branded product, is you always want to look at your customer and the customer experience first, right? What problem are you solving? How are you helping your customers? And what is that experience that you're going to deliver from them versus your competition, or if it's something that's a little bit more proprietary, how are you really reinventing your category or creating your category, right? And so the main issues that I see, and again, let's just focus specifically on drop shipping, is around three core issues: shipping timelines. So not being very explicit with your shipping timelines or providing good information or communication around that. The other one is product quality. So ensuring that the product is of good quality, that you're providing exactly what the value is that you're portraying online, and you're delivering on that promise. And the other item here is just not answering customer questions, right? Or not providing that good service if there is a question, or maybe there's sizing that's an issue if it's apparel. Just something is wrong with the item is that you're answering those questions very fast, right? And so the way I look at it is that money is great and all, but money will follow you, and you won't have to follow money if your customer experience is very good, right? So looking at the very first item here is shipping. Being very explicit on how you are shipping your product and also what the actual timeline is in which they're going to get the product. So it's very difficult now because everyone wants it now in terms of getting that product out right away if you're drop shipping, because you're using a third party to really get that product into the customer's hands. But the one thing is that the customer is always going to find out one way or the other. If your shipping timeline is 10 business days, you should disclose that it's 10 business days. You shouldn't say 7 business days, because if it takes an extra few days, that could be the difference between a great experience or a bad experience, right? Because customers want it and they want it now. And there are providers, again, like Amazon, who can do it very fast. They're going to have expedited shipping options. You just need to be very specific that you are providing the product by a certain amount of days. That can be highlighted in your shipping policy and your terms and conditions. And then also at checkout, there's different things that you can do to accent that. You can actually provide the shipping timeline depending on where they're being shipped to at the checkout when the customer types in their address. These are just some best practices that I recommend to ensure that the customer is fully aware. And then post-purchase, what I recommend is to send emails providing a thank you for the purchase and then providing that tracking information once it's available. And then it's just constant communication. So you're always providing the good communication, almost like the item is there. And so that way that customer is able to feel comfortable with the purchase that they made, even though it may be taking a few more days to get there. I think that's very important. And if you're shipping in multiple areas, such as like the US, or if you're shipping to the UK or Australia, for example, you want to be able to highlight the length of time that it takes on average for those products to get to those lanes. That's where you just want to make sure that you're controlling that, you understand that, and you're providing that communication to the customer, because ultimately you're trying to provide the best experience possible. The second thing is around product quality, and just what you're delivering is actually what you're saying. So I can give a couple different examples here. We'll start with apparel. Product quality is whatever value that you're giving is coming true. So I'll give an example. Somebody that I work with, somebody was selling a boot that they said it was very easy to put on and it was a flexible boot for women. The customer actually never validated that claim that was made by the supplier or the agent that they were working with. So in this case, this customer of mine built a website based on that feature or that benefit of the boot. So they went in and they made these claims and they said that the boot was doing X, Y, and Z, or was flexible, easy to put on. And so people were buying the boot off of that. And these were targeted towards younger women. And that was the demographic. Well, lo and behold, the boot wasn't doing what it was told. All of these chargebacks started to happen. These returns started to happen. And that's because you're trying to chase the dollar and not the customer experience. In this scenario, the customer of mine or the business owner didn't validate or test the product or touch the product and try the product on themselves. I always recommend if you're going to market and really push or promote something, you should validate that it actually does what it says is going to do. Because if it doesn't, then you're going to hear it from your customers and you're going to see it with chargebacks and things of that nature. Always looking at the experience. So if you don't touch it, you don't feel it yourself, you're taking a massive risk on just trying to trust somebody else's word that's an agent or a supplier that is just trying to get a contract signed and deliver that. Be careful in how you inspect the product. On the other side of it, if it's, something like, digital services or goods or coaching, things of that nature, you want to be very clear on your claims of what you're providing online. And so telling people that they're going to get X by a certain amount of time. And this can also relate to things such as skincare or anything that is health related. If it's weight loss, things that have claims, they need to be validated with evidence of those being done. So you don't want to make claims on something that's not true. So you want to validate, you want to measure, you want to understand exactly how these results are coming true and you're fact checking that. Those are a couple things, again, just to make sure and just to monitor is testing the product and validating, making sure that your claims are legitimate. And again, your customer is always right. So when you look at things online or if customers are making claims, typically there's going to be more of the same claims made. So you just got to make sure that you're validating these on your own, whether you're testing the product on your own and making sure that you're not overpromising on those. The last thing is if somebody has a question on something, whether it's sizing, if you're selling apparel, or maybe they received a size that was a large, but it was just too small. It's responding to them and providing a refund or a replacement to them free of charge. I've seen issues where, again, these are, junior operators, and maybe they just have a virtual assistant helping them out, and then they're waiting days on end to respond, and then that customer can get upset. You just want to make sure that you're responding very quickly and you're providing good contact information. You're creating a structure around your refund or your contact information process. So that way you're always ahead of the curve, right? And again, you're always focusing on the customer, not just focusing on the sale, but you're focusing on the customer first. And if you're doing that, everything starts to follow, right? So if you look at those three elements, you control that. And once you control that, that's going to help mitigate risk and keep your business in a healthy position. And it's not about scaling and getting to $200,000 as fast as possible. It's how many great experiences can you give as quickly as possible. And sometimes it could be slower, but if you scale slowly, that growth will start to compound. Customers will return. They'll start to refer friends. That short-term attention to detail can lead to long-term growth that'll outrun that transactional type of focus. That's just, again, some things that you want to control to mitigate risk and ensure that everything is managed appropriately.